There was a time in the NBA where if you could get buckets, nothing else mattered. Being 6'3" and under, taking 20 shots a night, playing zero defense, not pass, no rebounds, teams would still convince themselves those players contending pieces, whether they're a starter or sixth man, the king of empty stats, horrible team players. We've seen plenty of these hoopers in the 2000s. Many have had great, long, memorable careers, but the NBA these days evolved tremendously. Everybody convinced they see it all. With all the analytics out there, we're witnessing the extinction of the one-dimensional undersized scorers because of what just happened to Cam Thomas wasn't just cut randomly. It's a warning to the entire basketball landscape. You could drop 40 on any given night. You think you're a true star? Have the confidence to take the most ridiculous shots? That's cute. Next time we'll hear from them when they score 70 overseas. In a superstar-driven era, teams don't care about empty scores no more. If you're one of those bucket-getting role players, you're expendable. The 24-year-old bet on himself, now finding out the hard way. If a tanking team don't want you, consider that a massive warning. To add insult to humiliation, waived twice in one season, only a 2-month rental, the state of Wisconsin says nah. A proven glorified chucker, those tough shots don't matter if he's not doing the other things, has zero self-awareness since day one, stubborn and selfish, terrible efficiency on all levels. There's no team in the NBA that's even remotely interested in a guy with his attitude. Not even traded or benched by the tanking Nets. They rather put up historic low-scoring halves, get blown out by 50, then have their tank commander drop 20 extra points. After 1 year averaging 24 a game, it's pathetic how Brooklyn did nothing to move him last season. But better late than never, I guess. From being the youngest player to drop 40 in back-to-back games at 22 years young, even then, many weren't sold on Cam's real impact for a winning team. $6 million a year, even that's too much for the dying breed. He'll make more overseas. When asked about being benched against Houston, this was his pathetic response.
Is a game like this, different or frustrating when you win your minutes by 2 and you're on the bench at the time when, Houston is, as you said, making their run, hitting their shots?
No comment.
It's only once in a while when he's shooting well can remain on the floor. Given the larger sample size of the entire regular season, shooting 40% from the field, 31% from deep, wanting to take more than 20 shots a game, with the turnovers, lack of defense, zero ball movements, all compounding negatively, ruin his team's identity. Cam can't see the bigger picture, can do nothing off ball, doesn't make the right passes, waits until he loses his handles. The league's about scoring collectively, with stars having the ability to elevate their teammates. The Jokic, Doncic, Cade Cunninghams, and Steph Currys of the world all have the ability to master the game, all levels offensively. Realistically speaking, there's only about 10 superstars in the NBA right now, and that's even being too friendly. Only between 4 to 7 teams labeled as true contenders, unlike his more efficient teammate Michael Porter Jr., who played alongside Jokic and Jamal Murray as to become the third or even fourth option for Denver. Look how much better MPJ is than Cam can ever dream to be. There's nothing going for the undersized 2 guard, not even that athletic, wastes too much time trying to ISO, bad handles, forced to take tough jumpers most of the time when he's great at scoring. Unless Cam's top 10 in the league at getting buckets, that's a legit reason to justify his spot in the NBA. But not good enough to do that, will now be remembered as the player who bet on himself and failed, trying to blame guys like Zach Lowe. Absolutely delusional. Lonnie Walker IV, now 27 years old, 6'4" 2 guard, supposed to be a pretty good player, getting drafted by San Antonio with the 18 pick 8 years ago, spent 7 years in the association, now overseas, looked like a prototypical athlete with speed and athleticism, but not consistent enough, fails to adapt. His physical gifts can't solve all the answers. Even his transition to the University of Miami didn't go to plan. Averaged 11.5 points in college, overhyped a bit with the highlight reel moments, the lapses and lack of focus on team defense, bad qualities for any role player. Even starting out with strong culture San Antonio couldn't allow Walker to excel in different teams going forward. First red flag to his development, having a knee injury as a rookie, played 17 games, stunted his growth when he needed all the reps in the world before more younger players coming to the league would then surpass him. Has shown flashes of greatness with the ISO buckets and transition jams. His biggest moment happened Game 4 of the 2023 semis with the Lakers signing a one-year deal. A massive opportunity looked to prove himself on a LeBron-led team. Walker was benched heavily second half of the 23 season by Darvin Ham, but erupted for all his buckets, scored 15 points the final quarter, hit tough jumper after tough jumper, took a commanding 3-1 lead on the defending champs. His greatest NBA moment, the last time many fans heard his name. Later joining Brooklyn and Philly. Had Walker been able to put his defense together, given his God-given athleticism, unfortunately ends up ball watching, the type of role player who can win games in big ways or lose games by blowing leads. His biggest problems, good teams can't afford to have a guy so unpredictable. You never know how he'll play. Also the type of guy to ruin bad teams, falling down in playoff seeding. If he played for the Jazz or Wizards, Walker can end up dropping 20 in the fourth quarter and hit a crazy game winner, hurting their tank plans. Marcus Howard, the Marquette legend, undrafted after putting up 28 a game, led the nation in scoring. Listed as 5'10", as lethal a bucket getter for anybody his size. Never even shot under 40% from deep in college. You would think a guy like him would at least be a first round pick. Regularly went for 30 to 40 on the nightly basis. If only he was a little bit taller. But managed to play 68 total NBA games across 2 seasons with the Nuggets, only known as a garbage time player. The NBA believes nobody under 6'1", as a one-dimensional bucket getter, can run point guard duties. Unfortunately, Howard averaged just 3 assists for his collegiate career, not viewed as a pure one. Shared the floor with not only Jamal Murray, but Monte Morris, Gary Harris, PJ Dozier, all those guys played ahead of him, some of whom were already out the league. His amazing ability as a scorer, too much of a red flag since the league wants to see if Marcus can truly distribute, his ceiling being a backup one at best. Marcus himself even claimed it's easier to score in the NBA with superior spacing, rules in favor of offenses compared to the EuroLeague. Howard barely even got a chance to play much. Too bad we'll never see him get serious minutes or hit the NBA hardwood again. Terrence Davis, last full season in the league 2023, played a game last season before getting waived. Being 6'4", undersized shooting guard, only 28 years old, too inconsistent, had a tough time following game plans, gets lost on defense too often. The type of talent who would have been a top 3 player for the Wizards back in 2024. Unlike the better, more polished Landry Shamet, who knows his strength off the bench. Being a 10-man, Davis' too much ball handling miscues, defensive lapses, makes him forgettable, overlooked in today's game. That's just reality. Had some promising moments with the Raptors, being a rookie in 2020, even had some moments in the playoff bubble, could have established a role then, but couldn't do anything right. Forever known for getting destroyed by Steph Curry, Game 7 2023, the beginning of the end for Davis' NBA career. Josh Christopher, another 6'4" undersized 2, averages 1.5 assists in 3 seasons. A legendary Rockets tank commander, put up 8 points his rookie year, but piss poor 27% from 3 will never cut it. After team got Cam Whitmore, a more improved version of Chris. One of the many guys who don't know how to play without being the best player on the floor, has a lead scorer's mentality without the level of production at an NBA level, having the natural talent to get buckets like most others, but the negative IQ and lack of team play easily diminishes any type of quality role. Trent Jr., 6'5", not that undersized, but simply can't contribute anything but buckets only. The classic 20 points, 0 rebounds, 0 assist guy, having a disaster of a season when nothing goes right, simply the worst player on the floor. Should have been out the league after fumbling the ball out of bounds last playoffs, leading to a Halliburton game winner. Supposed to be a lethal 3-point shooter, but too many cold streaks. Trent developed a good early reputation with Portland and Toronto until these last 2 seasons. Can only shoot when getting set up. 27 years old, supposed to be in his prime. Probably won't get another chance after being out the league soon. Looking forward to seeing him drop 40 overseas. Devontae Graham, king of the super dark Charlotte Hornets days. There's a reason why he was drafted 2nd round. The 6'1" 2 guard last played 2024 with San Antonio, out the league by 28 while coming in at 23. Graham was essentially the Cam Thomas of the Hornets, super streaky volume scorer, way too small to guard anybody, not capable finishing at the rim. Even in his 2nd season, put up over 18 points but shot 37% from the field. At least he made some NBA money. Alonzo Trier, the super dark times of the New York Knicks, ran the show with rookie Kevin Knox, 6'4" 2 guard out of Arizona, undrafted, has a case for being the worst player over the last 10 years to average double figures in a season, 11 a game for the rookie, an awful defender, ball hawks heavily, a reluctant passer. The 3 biggest red flags for a ball-stopping role player continues to show being a high volume scorer in the G League, not capable of doing other things. Denied him another chance, very similar to the Bulls' Antonio Blakeney, same size, similar style, also played 2 years then out the league. Trier also didn't have the best attitude of his teammates, nicknamed ISO Soul. NBA views him less than the average Joe, straight up waived, never got things together. Jordan Poole, his career after Golden State has been an absolute travesty. Mr. Shaq and the Fool with the horrendous Wizards. Many already forget he's on the Pelicans, useless 20 points empty stats on tanking teams, a shell of himself, getting outplayed by 2 rookies, Jeremiah Fierce and Derek Queen. Had the perfect role for Golden State's title team, not having the defense focus solely on him. The selfish one-dimensional attitude after winning the title in over his head, wouldn't play defense, ran his mouth, got knocked out by Draymond, never fully recovered. The bootleg version of Curry at best, only cares about the bag, impactful when hot, otherwise a certified team killer. His contract's up after next season, will be 27 years old then. If he don't change his mindset, will probably be out the league. I don't see Poole remain on any NBA team past the age of 30. On the edge, but can have a longer career than most, Bones Highland, avoiding to be next. The cocky attitude when he thought he was better than Jamal Murray, just cause you could score and beat guys one-on-one at practice doesn't make you more impactful. Has the talent to drop 20 plus, but just like the other players on this list, undersized and inconsistent, can't string together a good few games. Until now, has been playing his best ball, tries harder on defense, much better without the ball, looking solid being the Nickeil Alexander-Walker replacement. As long as Bones remains humble, understands he's a 7 and 8 man, will have a home in the league for quite some time. Jaden Ivey has not looked like himself after that knee injury, was looking like one of Detroit's core pieces, but sent to the Bulls, now 24 years old, might have to settle for the minimum until he proves otherwise. D'Angelo Russell, often considered one-dimensional due to his reliance on offensive rhythm and 3-point shooting, too much inconsistency, defensive lapses, while good at pick-and-roll scoring and a decent playmaker, too unathletic. D'Lo's more like 1.5 dimensional, now 30 years old, shooting 40% from the field, under 30 from deep. This might be his final NBA season. After failing to find multiple homes, never adapts playing off ball. D'Lo can only blame himself for being out the league after this season, if not the next. Jordan Clarkson might be called one-dimensional, but has become a better defender, good enough to stay on the floor in crunch time every now and then, figured out to make nice passes, A primary bucket getter for himself, can go nuclear for half a quarter. He's earned over 126 mil for a 12-year career. Colin Sexton has bounced around, a glorified bench guy going forward, forgotten 24 points a game score in year 3. At least he's a good pick and roll lob passer, also top 10 finisher at the rim for guards and field goal percentage with at least 80 attempts. Despite just being 6'1", he's a solid 3-level scorer. That's all you can ask for a guy that small. Will likely get a 2-3 year deal next. Other names includes Cole Anthony, former first round pick back in 2020. Orlando had enough of him despite needing offense. Milwaukee waived him. Being an undersized 2, can't defend nor shoot. A turnover machine, trying to play hero ball with no Paolo and Franz last season. One of the ugliest offenses any fan can see. Maybe Sacramento can sign him next, team up with Killian Hayes for worst modern backcourt in history. Recently cut by the Suns, still only 25 years old. Kendrick Nunn, from rookie first team to out of NBA steam. Couldn't do anything for the Lakers, sent to the Wizards for Rui Hachimura, getting paid a few mil, balling in Greece, his best situation. The type of guy who needs the ball to be effective. There's no role for him in the league today. Terrence Ross and Alec Burks no longer in the league, not undersized but decent 2 guards. Once they started regressing even a little bit, it's a wrap. Alec last played age 33 with Miami. Ross was 31 with 2023 Suns. Nick Young and Kevin Martins had good careers, both lucky they're 6'7" and not 6'4". Out the NBA by 31. Tony Roten, a classic empty stats guy for tanking hinky Sixers, the godfather of the tank commander, averaged almost 17 a game, playing 30 minutes, lasted 4 seasons, dribbled the air out the ball before throwing grenades to teammates, decent ISO guy, was out the league entirely, age 22. Brandon Jennings out the NBA by 28 after his big injuries, wasn't gonna last long with his reckless style of play. Jeremy Lin, aside from the crazy Linsanity run, last played for the 2019 title Raptors, being a bench warmer. The then 30-year-old, after tearing his ACL with the Nets, derailed everything. His game relying heavily on his first step, attacking the rim, always had a streaky jumper. Wasn't that effective without the ball. His style depended too heavily, constantly playing downhill. Body couldn't handle long-term physicality for a full 82-game season. Nate Robinson at just 5'9", done by age 31, needed every ounce of quickness. Once that started to slip, the writing was on the wall. Marcus Thornton, nothing but buckets, a throwback from the early to mid 2010s, even greater throwback. Rashad McCants should have been J.R. Smith caliber, the godfather of the Kardashian curse. We don't have to go any further about his career. Ben Gordon started off amazing for the Bulls, but once he signed with the dysfunctional Pistons, being 6'3", undersized scoring guard, his three-pointers start falling off. When smaller guys fade, it's impossible to pick up where they left off. A big man like Shaq could afford to be lazy and still dominate, but every undersized player needs to work twice as hard. That's just the reality of maintaining your status in the NBA. At least Trae Young for now, nowhere near one-dimensional, 27 years old, heavily disrespected for his flaws. Thank goodness he's one of the best playmakers in the game. Atlanta traded him for peanuts. Many expect his days to be getting outnumbered. The loud criticism and inefficiency outcries after his contract's up in 2027 will be one of the most intriguing stars. Being the undersized scorer who can't defend, pass, or adapt, you're simply a ticking time bomb in the NBA. Just like how NFL running back fades by age 28, smaller one-dimensional guards must add new skills to their game every offseason, otherwise they'll just be viewed another forgotten name while the NBA continues to move on.